있습니다. 드렁크인가요? 드렁크죠. 자, 전화를 어딘가에 걸고 있는데
Hello,
번씨?
Copernicus. Is that you?
여기서
Let me
꺼내주시죠.
guess. You've gotten yourself into some kind of jam, swinging by your toes over a tiger cage?
압치된 것 같아요.
Kidnapped? That doesn't sound like part of your dream. Then again, you do have a way of making enemies. Who'd you piss off this time?
많이
I
있는
sincerely
남자일
doubt
수도.
that. The fact that I'm hearing your voice now suggests otherwise.
대체 저한테 왜 이러는
Well,
거죠?
don't say I didn't warn you. You've sworn to deceive me, Vern. I'm going to feed the birds now. I want to know the truth. Look where that got you.
네, 맞아요.
Speaking of which, did you find the box, Copernicus?
우편함이
Have you
있어요.
opened it yet?
아니요.
Figure out a way to open that box, Copernicus. Inside, you'll find out who you really are.
많은
Don't mess
있는
with him,
남자를
kid.
찾는데 도움이 될
He's
거야.
the final gatekeeper. Way too strong. You need to learn the spell first, before you can go up against him.
무슨 주문이요?
Hey, if I knew it, I'd tell you. But let's start by getting you out of that box. Lucky for you, I've got my farmer's almanac here. Let's have a look. Hang on. See, cabbage, caraway, carrot, car trunk. First thing you should do is reach around for the latch. Sounds kind of obvious. Okay, next step.
됐는데요?
See if you can scare up the brake lights. Can you find them? It's a little gizmo with some wires.
찾았어요.
Okay. Yank on the wires and try to pull the lights into the trunk with you. Got them? What color are the lights?
빨간색이요.
We need a green light, kid. A steady green light. That's the way forward. Gotta run now. Good luck to you, kid.
아니. 하나는 맞았는데. 여기 아니라며. 없는디? 이 색깔 안 되고 플러스가 안 된다는 말이잖아. 그러면은 초록색은 안 되고 파란색 마이너스. 그러면은 이렇게. 뭐지? 뭐예요? 저기 저기요?
ما أدري شو تسوي بسيارتي، بس من خبرتي بهذا المكان راح تسح بعدين.
알아들을 수
English.
있게 말해줘요.
آسف، ما أدري هاي مو صدق، بس أنا أشعر به كان من صدق حجة سعر. كل شيء هنا إلها دلالة رمزية، السترن، الجير
말인지
والقرن
모르겠다고요.
على الدشبول.
뭔
هسه
말인지
حتى لو
모르겠다고.
أحد إيدي من السترن، السيارة من كيف تمشي عدل؟ إيه معود على كيفك، أريد أوقف. And the sweet fire cielo está tan bajo que no standing on my way hasta distancia. Et tout au bien tu suis, j'entends les rêver, es-tu vraiment là? Un fantôme, un mirage, une illusion ou bien es-tu vraiment là? Tu me ressembles tant, mais comment tu es ton job? Où sont your notes? They dance in the night. They are standing on my way back to you.
아, 뭐야?
Puedes ver el horizonte al final del camino. Horizonte al final del camino. He oído que el cielo está tan bajo que no puedes pararte derecho. He oído que el cielo está tan in the night and morís equipuna. Let's get alone, drifting over the horizon. And I lost my memory on the only way over to nowhere.
됐다.
And the tyrant's race.
알아들을 수 있게 말하라고!
No, sorry. I could of course back in the real world, but it doesn't seem to have come with me into this place.
지금 했잖아.
To me, this sounds like Arabic. I guess it depends on one's perspective. Anyway, as long as you're not going to start shouting at me again, it's an improvement.
왜 날
Kidnap you?
납치했지?
I don't think my singing is that bad.
뭐야? 왜 당신 차
How
트렁크에
would I
갇힌
know?
거야?
It's not even my car.
그럼 왜 운전하고
No
있는
idea.
건데?
I find myself behind the wheel here night after night. And the trunk, that's my dream too. You don't want to know how many hours I've spent in there, trying to shift my legs to keep them from falling asleep.
당신이 납치한
Why
게
should I
아니라
know?
누가 날 데려온
What
거지?
makes you think you can turn up out of thin air and interrogate me? Who are you anyway?
너부터 밝혀 정체를. 이름이 뭔데?
I'm not sure actually. But here, it's funny. On this highway, everybody calls me Al-Shatir.
그게 뭐가 웃기지?
Never heard of Ibn al-Shatir? A famous astronomer. I guess you don't learn about him in your schools. One of the forefathers of astronomy. In many ways a predecessor to...
코페르니쿠스.
Yes, that's right.
이곳에선 그게 그
Copernicus.
이름이니까.
Al-Shatir. Two iconoclasts from different lands who challenged the belief that the sun revolves around the earth. Two dreamers who had the conviction that their unique consciousness is not the only thing in the center of the universe. Maybe you're not just part of my story, like I'm not part of yours. You were trapped in the trunk, where I've been many times. It's like you've wandered into my dream, and I've wandered into yours.
참으로 믿을 수 없.
Takes a leap of faith, I know, to admit that we both exist.
의식할 거 없죠. 많은 눈의 남자를 알고 있냐?
A man with many eyes. No, I've run across many
얘는 좀
strange
처음
things
나를
recently,
좀
but not
성가시게
that.
만들어서 반말을 해야겠어. 그러면 도망치고 있지.
From wars, from bombings, from the cockroaches that crawl out as soon as the dust settles. On the news, you hear only about armies and religious madmen. But it's the gangsters that drove me away. They're the ones who did this to me.
어쩌다 이곳에 온 거지?
I'm one of the ones who didn't make it. Not all the way. I'm stranded somewhere in between, trying to complete the journey every night in my sleep.
여정은 어떻게
The
시작됐지?
El Mahdi army. They called themselves an army anyway. They were looking for my brother-in-law because he worked as a translator for the US military. Neighbors warned us we should move. And so we did. Twice.
2번?
Yes, twice. No sooner had we moved the first time than neighbors started telling us that we should move again. That there were people looking for us.
무섭네.
By this point, we already felt a bit like exiles. And once you're an exile, you never stop being one. The hard part will always be leaving our first house. That's the house I grew up in. The backyard, where we used to sit and tell stories, where we would pick oranges from our own orange tree.
다음 집에서 무슨
A
일이
few years
있었지?
passed and we forgot about the threat. Life had returned to normal. And that's when they came back and picked me up. 2 days later, when I woke up in the Baghdad hospital, I found out that they dumped me off there and told the hospital that I'd hurt myself in a work accident.
날씨 왜 이래? 떠나기로
Yes.
결심한 건가?
After that, I couldn't stay.
탈출
The
당시에
women
관해
in my
얘기해.
family, my mother, my sisters, they were the only ones who knew.
어떻게
I got on a
도망쳤지?
plane to Istanbul, where my cousin lived. He took me to Izmir, where the smugglers are. They're easy to find. I bought a space on a vessel, headed to Mytilene, Greece, the closest harbor in Europe.
어떤 배?
Just a simple raft, but not as overcrowded as in some of the stories you hear. I was lucky, at least in the beginning. We couldn't leave for 5 days. Too many Greek army ships in the sea. Every morning, getting up at 3:30 to make a go of it. By the 5th day, I was so tired of waiting that I wasn't even scared to get on board any longer. Finally, impatience had overtaken fear.
그 다음은 어떻게 되는데?
We did not make it to Europe. A boat pulls up next to us. People are trying to understand what's going on, but the men on the ship only speak Greek. At first, people are worried that it's pirates. They take everything from the passengers. Sometimes take the passengers themselves. Sometimes just ram the boat and laugh as it sinks. But no, these are police, it turns out. They take us back to Turkey, where I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. Of course, I did not remember all this in my dreams at first. These were things I remembered from clues I found along the highway.
익숙한 얘기네.
I've dreamed this highway, this car before, many times.
당신 꿈에서 무슨 일이 일어나는데?
Always a long drive, always danger.
위협 있다는
Sometimes I'm smuggled in the trunk, sometimes I'm driving. Always checkpoints, inspections, betrayal, always from someone who pretends to be my friend.
난 배신자가 아니야. 정말.
I'm not worried about you. You seem too confused to hurt anyone. What is your dream about? A
모르겠.
breakup? That's it?
납치일 때도 있지.
Ah, that's more like it. Who has been kidnapped? Who's this person that's been taken away from you?
내 여자친구.
Do you have a photo? Who knows? Maybe I've seen her somewhere along this highway.
그 배낭에 사진이 있는데.
I know her. The same woman, but with different hair color. I just saw her at the gas station a few miles back.
그 사람 아니야? 그럼
A
미끼야?
decoy? What kind of game are you playing here?
아, 나를 함정이라고 봤었는데
I say,
알고 보니
you're lucky nobody
무덤이었네.
got hurt.
근데 그건 그
You
사람
sure?
아이디어였어.
Didn't she also warn you that you're the one pulling the strings here?
그걸 어떻게 알아?
Well, that's their motto at Dante's. Customer is always right. They say that to all the patrons there. But listen, did she ask you to let her change forms? To assume a different identity?
내 여자친구가 되어주겠다
And what
했는데
did you say?
안 된다
That's
했지.
right. How do I put this? In this place, it's important to see things for what they really are. Keep them pinned down. The moment you start shifting things around to suit your needs, well, you're like Pandora, opening the box.
그래서 주유소에서
There
뭐라고
was a
있었는데
scene there at the gas station. She was being questioned by two men. She seemed to be explaining herself, pointing at the empty passenger seat in her car. They didn't really seem interested in her, though. They were more interested in the empty car seat.
어떻게 생겼는데?
One man was wearing an orange vest. He seemed to be in charge. Another, shorter guy next to him. Mean looking, like a shrew.
주황색 조끼?
A trap? So, they were looking for you?
그런 거 같은데?
Sounds like getting in my dream. Getting in the trunk. May have saved your neck.
다른
I
말은 못
just heard
들었어?
one strange thing they said. That they were looking for a guy with 8 fingers. They were going to find him.
손가락이 8개?
Something like that. 8 fingers. 8 digits maybe.
좀 8자리다. 내 얘긴데 그의 전화번호를
And
가지고 있어.
you wouldn't happen to have a strange blue box with you, would you?
왜?
That was the other thing they mentioned. They have the key,
뭐고
but
이거?
don't want the box opened.
왜 그럴까?
Well, if they were chasing you... Say, have you noticed how many tumbleweeds there are suddenly?
여기는
I don't know.
사막이니까
But the weather also seems to be turning suddenly. Turn on the radio and see if you can find a weather report. My God! Get
뭐야,
that
이게?
thing off the window! Get it off! Get it off! It seems to be changing the weather conditions.
Sunny skies today, and we could hardly ask for better weather. A balmy 72 degrees, with mild breezes throughout the day. Although there is only a 10% chance of sunny skies.
맞췄잖아.
Sunny skies today, and we could hardly ask.
Suddenly, it's sunny. It's not working. They're stuck to the car. We need some other kind of weather to get clear of them.
다른 날씨?
Level 3
High-speed connectivity.
Level 3 thunderstorm. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter size.
Looks like tornado conditions now. Look, the tornado. It's starting to pull the
야
tumbleweeds off
저기
the
오면은
car.
우리 차가
It's not
날아가잖아.
strong enough.
아 발음이 약하다.
Warning. Tornado warning. Tornado 60 feet from car. Tornado 40 feet from car. Warning. Warning. Tornado. 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 Warning. Warning. Tornado 40 feet from car. Warning.
뭐야 도대체.
Warning. Tornado. 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 Warning. Tornado 60 feet from car.
아이씨 뭐 여기서 어떻게 해야 돼?
Tornado. Tornado 20 feet. Tornado. Warning. Tornado. Tornado.
It worked. Oh, good riddance. Look, that was very strange. Even for this place.
맞아.
And the eyes on those things. It seemed they were spying. Searching for something. Did you notice? What do you know about these guys? The ones who are after you?
내가 그들의
Oh,
명함을 가지고
Let's see.
배낭 안에 있는데.
Balkan tours.
알아?
Not directly, no. But I've heard about them. From a guy in Istanbul I met. He had made it through to Europe, but then had come back to get his family. But that's another story. He had come across these Balkan tours on his way back from Serbia. He warned everyone about them who would listen. Apparently, they had a charitable program to help refugees, promising to help them. But no one who accepted their help was ever seen from again. People just disappeared. And it wasn't just people in the refugee community either. Tourists too. They were strange stories.
어떤 소문?
I only heard bits and pieces. Nothing very clear. Mirrors. Rooms full of mirrors. People losing their minds and never coming back.
끔찍하네.
Yes. People who were heading from Turkey into Croatia and Serbia were being warned about it. Watch out for mirrors. Rooms full of mirrors. Rooms full of eyes.
여자친구가 내 도움이 필요한 것
Well,
같은데?
my friend, I think right now the best thing you can do is run for safety. They probably have a good beat on your location, assuming the tumbleweeds were on their payroll. Make no mistake, these guys are dangerous.
어차피 이게 꿈이라면 무서울 게 뭐 있어?
Well, we've all been in a dream. We've wanted to wake up from, but couldn't, right?
그게 왜?
Let's just say there are people who thrive on that fear and have ways of keeping you from waking up.
저런.
Exactly. What did you do to these guys anyway? Why you?
그건 모르겠는데 그들이
Right.
노리는 상자가 있어.
Where did you get the box?
여자친구가 준
They must be
건데.
worried about what's inside. Worried it will expose them, all the things they've done, to her and to all the other people they've hurt.
그래서 계획이 뭔데? 어디로 가는 거야?
I wish I knew. Even if I make it to my destination, I'm still not home. That's what it means to be an exile.
어디로 가고 있는 거지?
My niece, Nadia, used to ask me that question all the time. Where are you going, uncle? She was the only young person who knew I was leaving. Imagine, she knew when my father didn't. I was always mad at my sister for telling her. She would ask me that when I was putting her to bed.
조카에게 뭐라고 했는데?
The only thing you can tell when a person that young asks you a question like that at bedtime. I told her the truth. Not the truth, but the truth wrapped in the blanket of a story.
뭐야?
There's a place where the river Tigris runs through Baghdad. A place called the Two-Story Bridge. When I was a kid, I would go fishing there and look out at the water and wonder where it all led. As a child, I was told that the farthest place on the earth from Baghdad is a place called Fiji. I would train my eyes on the horizon and imagine that all the water led there, to the point where the sky met the earth. To my child's mind, Fiji was the place where the sky touches the earth. These people of Fiji, they must be very tolerant people to live in such a place where one has to stoop over at all times and can never stand up straight. Eventually, they resolved to leave and find a new home where the sky was farther from the earth, where the pandanus tree can grow high enough to be woven. So they left this land right under the sky, leaving behind those people so old and bent that they no longer cared to stand up straight. The other Fijians gradually moved away from the edge of the world, and the sky got a little higher, and then they found a marvelous place. It was fertile and lush, with excellent weather, an orange tree for every backyard. But there was one problem: earthquakes. Terrible earthquakes, as frequent as rains during the springtime in this country. All because the sky was still close to the earth. When there's thunder, it echoes off the roof of the sky and causes the ground to break. But the Fijians adjusted. They built their entire civilization out of rubber. Rubber houses with rubber beds that would sway during the quakes, with rubber restraints that would hold the sleeping Fijians tight while they dreamed. But Nadia didn't want a bedtime story about that. She wanted a story about good and evil, the kind of story children like. So I changed it for her to be about a Fijian princess called Nadia, who finds the source of all the earthquakes.
아까 이 천둥 때문이라고 하지 않았나?
But it's a child's bedtime story. You can change the details as you go along. So, Nadia finds a dragon hiding under the earth. A dragon with a splinter in its toe, whose terrible roaring causes the earth to break. Nadia slays the dragon and saves the people by uttering a magic spell. Konothi Seauton.
뭐라고?
Konothi Seauton. It's actually Greek. Rolls right off the tongue, no?
그노티 세아우토.
Okay, that was interesting. Can you say that again?
그노티 세아우토.
All the mirror eyes closed.
이게 아까 바로 번이 말한
Seems like it. And look, that's not the spell's only power. The card. There's a phone number on it now. Do you know what this means? I think you're ready to make a certain phone call.
발칸 여행사에 전화하고.
Right. Ready to put your spell to use? Good. Do you have a phone?
내 거는 아닌데
Even
종업원
better.
거지.
So, here's the plan. You call them and tell them you want to sign up for a tour.
오케이.
Here's the thing. If they act like they're taking you on a tour, everything is good. But if they've figured you out, they'll try to distract you while they kidnap you. Take it from me. They tell you someone you care about is in danger. But don't believe it. If everything's fine, then everything's fine. But if someone you know is in danger, it's a trap. Get out of there. Are you ready?
오케이.
Dial the number.
Yeah.
발칸 여행사인가요?
Yep. What can I help you with?
저 배드랜드 투어를 예약하고 싶어서요.
That's a big park. You near the Argus gas station on Route 90?
네, 맞아요.
Alright. I'll pick you up in an hour.
제가 그쪽으로 가는 게 어떨까요?
You don't have a car, do you?
그걸 어떻게 하셨죠?
Just guess from your voice. So, see you in an hour.
정확히 어디서 만나죠?
Don't worry about that. I'll be waiting for you once you land.
So, it worked then?
그건 잘
I
모르겠는데.
think you'll be fine. Just keep the spell close at hand. And remember, if they start telling you someone close had been hurt, it's a trap.
오케이, 기억할게.
Isn't that how these things normally work in the stories of this country?
뭔 뜻이지?
Other characters shows up, imparts some hard-earned wisdom, then conveniently fades away.
뭐야? 사라지지 마.
It's a few
네
minutes
도움이
before
필요해.
3:30 in Istanbul. There's another raft waiting. Another try.
행운을 빌어.
Thanks. To you too. I think you'll be fine. You have allies all along this road, even in the cars of enemies. I've left something for you.
편지.
Hey, sorry I haven't written in a while.